Okay, everyone, I hope you all had a nice break. We do have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm glad to see you with me. All right, we got chapter 31 today. At that time, declares the Lord, I will be the God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. At that time is pointing to the latter days mentioned in verse 24 of chapter 30. This chapter is a continuation of the prophecies about the restoration of the nation. Verse 2, Thus says the Lord, the people who survived the sword found grace in the wilderness, Israel, when it went to find its rest. The Lord appeared to him from afar, saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have drawn you with loving kindness. God's love, anchored in eternity past, extends throughout eternity. Verse 4, Again, I will build you, and you will be rebuilt, O Virgin of Israel. Again, you will take up your tambourines and go forth to the dances of the merrymakers. Again, you will plant vineyards on the hills of Samaria. The planters will plant and will enjoy them. For there will be a day when watchmen on the hills of Ephraim call out, Arise, and let us go up to Zion, to the Lord our God, referring to the millennial period we discussed all throughout the book of Isaiah. Verse 7, For thus says the Lord, Sing aloud with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Proclaim, give praise, and say, O Lord, save your people, the remnant of Israel. Behold, I am bringing them from the north country, and I will gather them from the remote parts of the earth. Among them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and she who is in labor with child, together. A great company, they will return here. A lot of people only read the first half of the story and put the book away without knowing the ending. With weeping they will come, and by supplication I will lead them. I will make them walk by streams of water, on a straight path in which they will not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the word of the Lord, O nations, and declare in the coastlands afar off, and say, He who scattered Israel will gather him, and keep him as a shepherd keeps his flock. For the Lord has ransomed Jacob, and redeemed him from the hand of him who was stronger than he. They will come and shout for joy on the height of Zion, and they will be radiant over the bounty of the Lord, over the grain and the new wine and the oil, and over the young of the flock and the herd. And their life will be like a watered garden, and they will never languish again. Then the virgin will rejoice in the dance, and the young men and the old together, for I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them and give them joy for their sorrow. I will fill the soul of the priest with abundance, and my people will be satisfied with my goodness, declares the Lord. Thus says the Lord, a voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children because they are no more. So here the Lord spoke through a poetic image, picturing Rachel, the mother of Benjamin and Joseph, ancestors of prominent tribes of Israel, weeping for her children. She does this from Ramah, near where she was buried, in 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 2. Verse 16, Thus says the Lord, Restrain your voice from weeping, and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, declares the Lord, and they will return from the land of the enemy. There is hope for your future, declares the Lord, and your children will return to their own territory. I have surely heard Ephraim grieving. You have chastised me, and I was chastised, like an untrained calf. Bring me back, that I may be restored, for you are the Lord my God. For after I turned back, I repented, and after I was instructed, I smote on my thigh, a sign of deep affliction. I was ashamed and also humiliated, because I bore the reproach of my youth. These are signs of true contrition. Verse 20. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a delightful child? Indeed, as often as I have spoken against him, I certainly still remember him. Therefore, my heart yearns for him. I will surely have mercy on him, declares the Lord. Set up for yourselves road marks. Place for yourself guideposts. Direct your mind to the highway, the way by which you went. Return, O Virgin of Israel. Return to these your cities. How long will you go here and there, O faithless daughter? For the Lord has created a new thing in the earth. A woman will encompass a man. Verse 22 here is a challenge for scholars. But the woman is Israel, and it's believed this means that in the future she will finally seek out her God and ask to be united with him. In Hebrew culture, it wasn't custom for a woman to seek out a man, so this would be a new thing. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Once again they will speak this word in the land of Judah and in its cities when I restore their fortunes. The Lord bless you, O abode of righteousness, O holy hill. Judah and all its cities will dwell together in it, the farmer and they who go about with flocks. For I satisfy the weary ones and refresh everyone who languishes. At this I awoke and looked, and my sleep was pleasant to me. Behold, days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. As I have watched over them to pluck them, to break down, to overthrow, to destroy, and to bring disaster, so I will watch over them to build and to plant, declares the Lord. In those days they will not say again, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone will die for his own iniquity. Each man who eats the sour grapes, his teeth will be set on edge. Those facing judgment in Jeremiah's day felt that they were being unfairly punished by God for their ancestors' sins. Though the fathers ate sour grapes, it was the children who experienced the effects. Here, a known proverb in Jeremiah's day that implied God was unrighteous gets corrected. God's justice will guarantee that each guilty person will die for his own sin. All right, so we got some really important verses here, verses 31 through 34. Behold, days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not like the covenant which I made with their fathers in the day I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, my covenant which they broke, although I was a husband to them, declares the Lord. But this is the covenant which I will make with the house of Israel after those days, declares the Lord. I will put my law within them, and on their heart I will write it, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. They will not teach again, each man his neighbor and each man his brother, saying, Know the Lord. For they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, declares the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and their sin I will remember no more. This was the new covenant, which includes spiritual blessings of salvation. It was for the house of Israel, or the northern kingdom, and the house of Judah, the southern kingdom. It would not be like the covenant God made with Israel's forefathers at the time of the Exodus, because that covenant had been broken by the people. The earlier covenant was the Mosaic covenant, in which Israel failed miserably. This covenant was announced by Jesus in Luke chapter 22, verse 20, and begins with spiritual aspects that carry from the Jews to Gentile believers in the church era. It will also be realized by the people of Israel in the last days, including regathering to their land. Thus says the Lord, who gives the sun for light by day and the fixed order of the moon and the stars for light by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If this fixed order departs from before me, declares the Lord, then the offspring of Israel also will cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus says the Lord, if the heavens above can be measured and the fountains of the earth searched out below, then I will also cast off all the offspring of Israel for all that they have done, declares the Lord. Behold, days are coming, declares the Lord, when the city will be rebuilt for the Lord from the tower of Hananel to the corner gate. The measuring line will go out farther straight ahead to the hill Gareb, then it will turn to Goah, and the whole valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields as far as the brook Kidron, to the corner of the horse gate toward the east, shall be holy to the Lord. It will not be plucked up or overthrown any more forever. When new covenant promises are ultimately fulfilled to Israel in its regathering to its land, rebuilt Jerusalem will meet certain specifications. The corner gate is at the northwest corner mentioned in 2 Kings chapter 14 and 2 Chronicles chapter 26. The measuring line marks out the area for rebuilding. It will point over the hill Gareb and then toward Goah. Both places are impossible to identify today. The Valley of Dead Bodies is the Valley of Hinnom, a place of refuse and burning fires. The horse gate was at the southeast corner of the temple courts. All right, really long chapter today. Why don't we all just spend a few moments individually before the Lord right now? And I hope to see everybody tomorrow. God bless you. Have a great day. Take care.